Hi, it's Philip Williams here again. Welcome to another video. I wondered if it was possible to create a jazz theme FMOD project that retains the constantly changing and evolving motion of a jazz performance, with moments of contrast and occasional clashes of sound, and those moments when surprising things happen in a jazz performance. So this was quite a challenge, but with a fairly simple FMOD arrangement, some level of spontaneity and natural variation could be achieved similar to a live jazz performance. I mean, nothing will ever capture the brilliance of a live performance, but it was fun to try anyway. So we're just going to pop back over here and have a look at my Ableton Live setup, where you can see all the different tracks. So we've got a rhythm section where I created variations in each track. Some were quite intense, more intense than others, sometimes others were sort of allowing more space. So it could be, sometimes dance and sometimes a little bit more open. So notice there's also 5 different layers of drums to give me plenty of options when I get into FMOD for variation. So each instrument was also recorded to both at times provide some comping background padding, while also at other times taking some lead in each section of the tune. So I recorded each instrument, except for the saxophone of course, using the Novation Launchpad Pro to capture as much of a live performance feel, rather than keying in the notes one by one. I particularly like also the pure magnetic acoustic bass samples, which if you just listen out for those, because they're really quite nice. So I'm just going to pop back over here. So this is the FMOD project, where you can see the arrangement. I'll have the tune playing in the background like I have, so you can hear each section while I talk through the setup. So you can see I've created an introduction over here, a vamp section, and then 3 different movements, each featuring a different instrument: the saxophone, bass, and the piano. So the transitions between each movement are controlled by this single parameter, the arrangement parameter up here, and these transition zones. So to get back to the introduction, we shift back, move it back to between 0 and 0.9. Over here to the second point is between 2 and 2.9, and then we just move up for each one. So let's pop back to the introduction. So variation within each movement is controlled by the volume automation. If we can fold these out here and see how I change the piano volume depending on whether I want it to be more up front in the piano section, or back down for the bass, or up a little bit to support the saxophone. And then you can see the bass up for the bass section. For the rest of it, it's fairly standard. Let's just pop back over to the vamp section. So variation within each of these is managed with the volume, but also some clips are more dense. And let's jump in and have a look at this one. So this is a piano groove here. We can see just for this section I've selected just 3 piano grooves, and these are not so intense, a fairly open kind of piano little grooves. We can just have a listen to that for a bit. Because I want the piano just to hold this together, I've set the probability that this occurs, I've actually left that off so that it plays all the time. We pop over to the sax fill. That just kind of sits in the background as well. That's actually over here, set up in a separate track so that it can float below the mix and not be bound, because those loops are 8 bars long. Let's go and have a listen to the bass because it's really nice. So if we have a look at the bass here, we can see I've chosen some more of the more intense, a little bit busier kind of bass lines. And for the saxophone, I've just tucked that more in the background, so it's not playing all the time, only about a third of the time, so often you won't hear it. We just heard this hi-hat mix here shift. So that just creates a nice little bit of variation in the drums, and this kick and snare just kind of ticks away fairly subtly in the background. So you could listen to this section quite a few times and hear quite a lot of variation, and actually it would be hard to listen to this each section and hear exactly the same piece of music every time. So let's go and have a listen to the piano section. Shift it up to 4. So sometimes the transitions can feel a little bit clunky, so there is room for a little bit of refinement here in the way that I've arranged this. But the transitions in jazz are not always that smooth, are they? And I've kept a lot more of this, the drum fill going in here. Again, only playing about a third of the time, just to add a bit of variation. And hear a little bit more of the ride happening in the background, so that's playing all the time. The idea is just to kind of capture some of those polyrhythms that the drummer might employ while they're comping just behind a solo musician. This one we've got all of the bass loops here available. So in the end, I've managed to achieve quite a wide range of possibilities with using just one control parameter and the multi-sample variables, the multi-sample modules. Go back to the vamp just for a little bit of a break. The transition's not too bad, really, but the overall sound is just a little bit more laid back, a little bit more open. Now we're going to leap into the saxophone here. Oops. Over to the piano by accident. Now we're back to the saxophone. Oh, sorry, back to the bass. Let's go back here to the... Now I've got two saxophones playing there, so sometimes they clash a little bit. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it really comes off, sometimes not so much. Hear the ride coming in, playing, just giving a little bit of variation in the background. The drum fill again. So thank you again for listening along. So in the end, we've achieved quite a few possibilities and a fair bit of variation with just one control parameter using the multi-sound modules. It's quite fun to do, so I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.